The scholar Gideon Strauss talks about wonder, heartbreak, and hope, which mimic creation, fall, and redemption. But what they are is they're an active response to God's work in the world. So our response as believers to God's creation is a response of wonder. And our response to the fall of man is a response of heartbreak. And then, of course, our response to the redemption we find in Christ is a response of hope. When we use these active words to understand the story of God, we're much more able as church communities to create experiences for people to enter into. So in the Cascadia Residency, what we do is try to reframe that story. Artists can help us inhabit the story of God.
Artists are called to speak truth. They're not called to just make something pretty or nice or calm. It's maybe sometimes it will be, but sometimes it also might be something hard and difficult and complicated, and that there's that tension to have to live with and to hear those other stories. You can say something visually that can impact a lot of people in a different way than just words on paper.
Artists can bring us back into a space of experience. And they respond with what they make. They respond with their music, their collage, their visual art, their photography, their dramatic presentations, and ultimately with their hearts. And as we get to know and invest in artists in our church communities, we're welcomed into a new space in worship.
The church needs artists because we're not necessarily looking at getting to it the quickest way. We're looking to get at it from a way that is really authentic and possibly vulnerable to us. We're willing to have our hearts broken in order to get that truth through, and that is something that we will do because of who we are. It does not necessarily feel like a sacrifice because it's the passion we've been given. And I think that the church really needs people like that to tell those stories because they're going to be heard in different ways and they're going to speak to different people.
What a program like the Residency does is it equips churches to engage people outside our communities with meaningful experience. The church desperately needs artists in our midst. We desperately need to understand our creative people in our congregations, to love them well, to know them well, and to allow them to lead, to allow them to ask difficult questions in our communities, to allow them to explore things that are not black and white. The mystery of God is something we tend to be really uncomfortable with in our church communities. Aesthetics and beauty and emotion can really tap into that space.
It can be very challenging to share the questions of faith within our art in the greater world, but to be able to bring some of those and wrestle through those with people who know us and don't just know us as the artist, but know us as the person who is also an artist.
Often as artists, we think, oh, we have something to give to the church doesn't understand us. But the hospitality really is necessary both ways. As artists, we need to enter into a church community that's been built by years and years of history and worship together. Our art fits into that bigger picture and can be shaped by the narrative of faith over the years. There's an opportunity for growth and beauty both within the church and within the work of the individual artist. If you're an artist wishing to have more engagement with your church community, or if you're a church leader that wants to help your congregation build experience through engagement with the arts, check out our website at cascadiaresidency.com.